It's the lead play in our offense.
Tell the tackle, take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, you drive down the first man who is inside. Fullback, you tell him, take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one shows. Go right by them and field inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. So look at this play. What we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Packers Total Access Postgame Show. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. I'm joined alongside my co-host here, Mr. Jacob from the Packernet Fantasy Podcast. And we're going to get things kicked off right. But first, we definitely want to say thoughts and prayers go out to Isaiah Bolden. Obviously had an injury there on the field that suspended the game. I don't know, just kind of, you don't want to speculate too much, Jacob, but just judging by the way the players and the coaches were acting there at the end as the credits were rolling, as they ended the TV broadcast, I think things are as good as they could be. They must have some movement in the extremities and all that stuff. So, again, thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. All right, well, the Packers, obviously, I don't even know what the final score was, Jacob. What did it end up being there, man, when they called it? 21-17?
Yeah, I was very shocked by that. I thought I had a good another, 15, 20 minutes to kind of settle in. I had some food that I just made. I was just about to, start eating, and all of a sudden I see a phone call from Clayton, and I look up and I see him. I'm like, oh my, okay, well, I guess we're doing that now. So it was a great game. We'll get into the details, but yeah, we kind of jumped onto this on the fly, and we're using a new software. So it was all just it's preseason for everyone right now. So
yes, it is. I called Jacob and said, hey, they just called the game. Let's go live. I'm scrambling, trying to throw the dogs outside real quick.
Yep.
So, here we are. All right. Richard in the chat, are you going to do any watch parties in Tennessee? Dude, I would love to hook up with some Packer fans down here in Tennessee. I have never been able to do that. I think Packers everywhere had a group for a little while, but I don't know, whatever happened to that. But that would be cool, man. We've got several people in Tennessee that are Packer fans for sure. Let's see here. Red Mo in the chat. Dang, man, I hope Bolden is all right. Got to feel like joint practices will become the norm soon enough here potentially. It seems like they're more valuable anyway nowadays, Red Mo, for sure. Let's see, Elevated Shine in the chat. Some guys locked up their spot on the 53 tonight. We got, I think that's Tad or Todd in the chat. It's crazy, this screen. It's hard to read. Yeah, Tad in the chat. Appreciate you dropping in, man. Texas Badger in the house. Zane. And, went to the Brewers game tonight, Texas Badger. All right, man. Good stuff. All right, Jacob, let's waste no time, man. I want to kind of highlight a few plays that stood out to me. We're going to be really, really brief with this. I'll do a Chalk Talk episode tomorrow to kind of show everything. But let's just kind of dive into a few plays that I thought were pretty important. And you can see the screen, right, Jacob?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. So first play that came to mind for me was in the first quarter, 4:43 left, 3rd-and-9 play. New England was up 7-0. We came out in a nickel 2-4-5, and this was an Enagbare sack. I want you to watch him down here at the bottom of the screen. Man, he really flashed tonight, had a great game. As you can see him come off the line. We're going to play it at 50%, so we can just do it one way through. Nice little stiff arm there. Just a straight arm. Kept his left arm.
Kind of.
What's that?
It's not quite like the Reggie Chuck, like the one arm like Chuck move, but it's almost there. Like look at him. That's like insane.
No, it's nice, man. It's a straight arm, and you keep the momentum on that inside or the outside breast. All right, next play. 3:08 left in the first quarter. New England still winning 7-0. We're backed up inside the 10, I think around the 8-yard line. It's a 2nd and 10 play. We come out in an 11-gun, strong left bunch, T-weak, crosser cab fly, Y-leak, T-choice. And the main thing that you want to key in on here, guys, well, let's kind of explain it real quick. We won't go into too much detail. 11-gun, obviously one running back, one tight end, right? You've got a strong left bunch. This is your bunch set, and the tight end is on the left side. That's telling you strong left bunch. You got T weak, right? The T is the halfback. He's on the weak side of the formation. Now, as far as the as far as the route combination, you've got crosser, cab, fly, Y leak, T choice. So a cab concept is typically a shallow cross with a dig on the backside. Okay. They ran 2 crossers similarly. And the way it works is the number 2 receiver, which is right here in the slot. He's going to work underneath on a shallow crosser. And then you've got the receiver up top who's going to work one underneath. That's what we call a crosser cab. And then you got a fly or a 9 fade on the other side to Dobbs. This is that deep pass to Dobbs. And of course, you got the Y leak. He's going to block and then fade out. And then you got the T choice, which he's going to come here and he can go out, he can curl, or he can go in. He chooses to go in. They played the T choice pretty well there, actually. So let's roll the tape. You can see Romeo Dobbs up top. Really want you to key in on him. And they're playing off here too, guys. It wasn't like they caught him off guard with this. He gives a little move to the inside. Beautiful ball by Jordan Love. And you can see Jacob. He put this, some people were saying it was underthrown. I think Dobbs kind of played it a little bit bad. I think there was plenty of air underneath it that Dobbs should have positioned himself a little bit better. He allowed himself to get trapped on the sideline. But again, drop it right in the bucket. Great play back and seen the toe drag inside and was like, holy cow, dude. He caught that ball. What'd you think of that play?
Yeah, so I actually did in my same notes. I'm telling you guys, you got to read this book because it's the first game I've watched since I read it, and he says it in the beginning of the book that you're going to just see the game in a different way. I literally took my eye off the ball. I watched every single thing I could do, but it was really hard to train yourself not to just watch the play. And what I saw specifically, I thought he did underthrow the ball, and I did think that he made a great catch or a great play on the ball. I initially did think it was a catch, and then I was really surprised that the crowd wasn't reacting. And to me, it's like, did they throw it up on the Jumbotron? We have these new giant, TV screens up there. And then all of a sudden they blew the whistle, and I was like, yeah, dude. I'm like, I really do think that he got that in. And that I really think that Dobbs, that concentration, I won't say that was completely intentional and that he knew exactly that his feet were going to drop, but just the fact that he had the wherewithal to drop his feet, because you could tell that he adjusted to the ball and he just immediately just tried to tap that toe no matter what that took. And even the announcers thought that, they're like, yeah, this is a stupid, you could kind of tell they're like, yeah, this is a dumb challenge. Like, why would he do that? And then sure enough, it was a really good catch, a really great ball. Like you said, it's not a horrible ball. I do think that Love was a little inaccurate early, but we can go into that.
Yeah, he settled in though.
Yeah,
let's see here. We got all right. Next play. This is the first quarter. 1:49 left. 2nd and 5 play. New England still up 7-0. We got an 11 ace double, strong left, Z wing, play action, max protect, choice dodge, slot cross. Okay. Let's just kind of speed it up here a little bit. Like I said, we'll get into chalk talk tomorrow. I won't explain everything, but essentially what you've got with max protect is the tight end's going to block. They're going to play action to A.J. Dillon. He's going to absolutely annihilate a guy right here, right? And then what you have with the Z wing, this was really interesting. He would technically be the Z or the flyer in this formation, Christian Watson. Notice how he's lined up in the wing. I thought this was very, very creative by Matt LaFleur, right? And so again, as we roll through the tape here, what you're gonna see is a play action pass, max protect. You're gonna go choice dodge. Okay, this is what we call a dodge route. So it's going to be a choice route for Christian Watson. He's going to come out here and he's going to read it. Anytime you come out of the backfield and you have a choice route that could go inside or outside, typically it's called a dodge route. Okay, so choice dodge. He's going to come out here. He's going to, as he's coming out of the backfield, he's going to look at the inside and then he's just going to run an out route. Okay. And then you've got slot cross, which is going to be the slot is going to run a crosser, and you've got the backside dig that completes that passing concept. Again, A.J. Dillon's going to step up, lay a nice block. You're going to see Musgrave drop back, throw a pretty nice block here too. And I want you to watch this ball and the placement of this ball by Jordan Love to Jaden Reed. This is absolutely phenomenal as far as accuracy. Play action. Look at A.J. pancake that guy, get him out of the way. This is a dot. That's an absolute dot. That's such a small window, Jacob, to throw that ball into. Another hands catch from Jaden Reed. That dude is the real freaking deal. Let's roll it back because I want to show you one more thing here, and then we'll move on to the next play. I want you to really, really focus right here up top as Zach Tom right here. Remember last week the touchdown pass that he threw to Romeo Dobbs, that Jordan Love threw to Romeo Dobbs, Jacob? Yep. Remember we highlighted Zach Tom with a great pass set? Watch this right here. Look at get the whole celebration. All right, now we're on defense. This is a nickel 2-4-5 cover 3 zone match. Enigbare is going to be down here in the 7 tech. Okay, some people would call that wide 9. I would still call it a 7. He's a little closer than a wide 9 in my opinion. He's going to do what we call a pinch and pull. Or I'm sorry, a punch and pull speed rush. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in the tape for you guys so you can see it. I really want you to key in on him. He's basically going to engage with this tackle. He's going to punch him in the chest, pull down on his arms, and then speed rush around the end. Okay, watch this play right here. We're going to zoom in, like I said. Watch Enigbare number 55 right here. Here's the punch, bang, pull, and he's around the edge. Enigbare, Jake, he looks like, and look at this, force the fumble and recovers the fumble. Bro, this guy looks like a different player this year. You guys know during the draft last year, he was like hands down the best on my board when we took him. I was over the freaking moon with this pick. It's like, why did he drop that far? And the main concern was his run defense, right? We seen last year, I thought he played pretty good, pretty decent run defense. And then, of course, coming into this year, he looks like he's a pretty good pass rusher, Jacob. What do you think about Enigbare, dude?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got to pull this up real quick because his stat line was stupid. He had 3 total tackles, 3 solo, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for a loss. I believe he had 2 quarterback hits. He also had obviously a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Pretty decent day, dude. Like, I don't know. I'd have to think like that. And he did that all on, not a lot of snaps. And so it's, like you said, that second year jump is a real thing. And our edge rotation, oh my God, it's so
looking good, dude. Looking good.
So good, bro.
Josh Martin got a super chat here. Hey, Josh, man, thanks for supporting the stream, buddy. We appreciate you. He says Myers got to go to backup. Jacob, that was tough early, man, watching Myers and that snap. And I heard the announcers, first they blamed Myers, then they went back and said Love didn't have his eyes up. I don't know, man. It was
high and right. It was high and right. It was up here. So even if he
was trying to like backtrack on insulting anyone, wasn't he? I
know. What I will say though is what really stinks is that Jake Hansen got hurt late in the game. So if there was any, thoughts of maybe the fact that Hansen or somebody would take over and maybe Zach Tom would stay at right tackle or whatever. Zach Tom, again, we can get into that later. He looked pretty good today. He had unsportsmanlike conduct, which I still can't figure out what happened there. But maybe we can dive into that in a couple days and see what that reached out to. But man, overall, this game started out. One thing I wanted to highlight is that the start of this game was not great, I will say, obviously. And in years past, this team has just taken that initiative to just follow through and just dive. This team is a fighting team. They're so young, so much in college. Like, think about this. Almost our whole offense and a lot of our key players are either just removed from college or 2 years removed from college or a year removed from college. Where like they're used to getting people throwing up 40 points a game on them, but then you just keep coming back and scoring and you keep making plays, you keep doing things, you keep being energized. And I feel like all of a sudden we have this college style team where like, even though that, they had that deep pass, who the heck was it? Can't remember, but in the next, like, it didn't seem like it phases us. It doesn't seem like that Clifford gets rattled. It doesn't seem like that Jordan Love gets rattled. Like, they're just ballers, man. Yeah. And Malik Heath, oh my God, dude. Bretton Cox.
Hey, dude, Malik Heath.
Carl Brooks. Bro,
I'm telling you, dude. You can see it all over film, man. Carl Brooks and Kobe Wooden. Kobe Wooden, man, they ran a TT stunt. I think it was in the third quarter around the 11-minute mark. I've got it noted so I can go back and look at it. They ran a TT stunt, Jacob, which basically means the 2 defensive tackles engaged, backed up, and split, right? And literally looped around. I was like, oh, my God. Go ahead and call them the Bash Brothers. Again, Josh, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you, buddy. Tim, we got Tim in Green Bay. He's in the house here. Tim, if you can hear me, buddy, your mic is muted. It looks like it isn't now. Can you hear us, bub?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, we got you, man. What's going on,
What's
Tim?
Up? Man,
that was fun.
It lasted. Sure was. I'll keep my opinions as mild as I can, but it is a preseason. I understand, Coach Bill and Coach LaFleur getting together and just saying, hey, let's put a wrap on it for the night. We don't want to get anyone else hurt. But, guys, it's football. This is football. And if you're trying to make a team, every rep counts, every snap counts. You know, we had what we had last year with DeMar Hamlin, which was very, very scary. And that game was also ended for numerous reasons. But guys, I mean, everyone who puts on a helmet and pads knows the risk that they're taking when they play this game, especially at the professional level for millions of dollars. And there's just a big part of me that feels bad for the people who traveled and paid hard-earned money to see a game, and they didn't get to see a whole game. We didn't get to see a whole game. Guys didn't get to see reps. You know, obviously your heart goes out to this Patriots player, and it's one of those freak things that happens in football, guys, right? This wasn't a dirty play. This wasn't, you know,
He got hit
anything but one of those. Right. It was kind of a fluke kind of thing. And yeah, he was put on a board and he had to be carted out of there. I can tell you one thing. I'm not a doctor, but they did not rush him off the field, which is a great sign, which means clearly he was breathing on his own. These are good signs. So I do agree with the coaches. Hey, it's preseason. These games don't count for anything. So why are we going to, you know, and then you look at the history of this week with the chippiness in practice and guys are on edge. There was a fight before the game even started today. I mean, literally during warmups, there was already a skirmish. 30 minutes before the game. So I think that might've played into the decision, but I can just say, you know, from a fan's standpoint, it's like, you know, what's the standard now? You know, if a guy goes down like this and has to be carted off, that we just stop play. Because, you know, and maybe I'm still old school, you know, I don't know. I'm just old school at heart. And, you know, I think of guys who have, you know, we've seen brutal games throughout the history of this league that continued to play. I mean, multiple guys being carted off in games and they still finish. So I just feel a little disheartened by that. But again, it's preseason, so I get it. You know what I mean? I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
yeah, it's for me.
I would have liked to see Bill and Matt get together and say, hey, let's just soft zones and let's, you know, whatever, and let's get out of here with no more injuries. Let's finish this game. But I don't know, man.
It's tough, man. It is, because like you said, there's a lot of people that traveled and everything. And, you know, like I was telling Jacob, it seemed, you know, to the best of my knowledge, as they wrapped up and everything, you know, everybody's still shaking hands on the field. It wasn't like everybody was, you know, devastated or anything. But at the same time, man, it's tough. You know, if I was put in that position, you know what I'm saying, Tim? Like, Clayton, you've got to make the decision. Do you continue the game or do you not? I'm probably going to err on the side of caution, you know, but at the same time, I get it, man. I know what you're saying too. Like, God, man, think of this, man. Think of back in the 90s, then go to the 80s, go to the 70s and the 60s, and the stuff that those players went through. Dude. It's like, it's crazy to think of how tough the game was back then.
Look at what Steve Atwater did as a person to other people in this game, or John Lynch. Or, you know what I mean? Troy Polamalu, for that matter. Like,
or Bill Romanowski.
Or, yeah, it's now. Yeah, it's not the same game anymore. I don't know. To be honest, I understand your sentiment, Tim. I do. And I'm kind of more in your side of thinking of things. It's just, I don't know. It seems like the league's gotten so soft now that you have to do this.
It's preseason, right?
It's preseason, yeah. And so the Packers fans were very receptive. They showed people, like, everybody was just kind of happy. I saw a good game. It is preseason. It doesn't really mean anything, but in the same token, it means everything for like half of the people on this roster right now. So like you said, the only thing that is a shame is that those guys that are on the very deep ends of the roster don't have a chance to even show that what they can do. And they've only got one more preseason game. There's not 4 anymore. So there's only 3. So now they've only got maybe another quarter for a lot of these guys on the back end of the team, you know, the guys that maybe would have had a shot to make it. And to be honest, we wouldn't have seen a lot this out of that last, what was it, 11 minutes or 12 minutes, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I saw a lot though that we should talk about, because that was freaking cool. And we saw a lot of overcoming adversity. We saw a lot more Sean Clifford. We saw a lot more of what they want to do with Luke Musgrave. I think that guy's as a fantasy football guy, pick him up. He's clearly the number one. They had Josiah DeGuara at fullback in like the third quarter, I'm pretty sure. So all this talk about maybe Josiah's going to start getting reps, nah, bro. I don't think that's really going to be a thing. I think it's Luke Musgrave, and even it seems like Tucker Kraft is tight end too over Josiah. They seem to very firmly have him as kind of that H-back / fullback style right now. There's so many things I want to get into, but where would you like to start or go, Clayton?
Well,
I guess
since you talked about the fullback, let's go there. I tried to chart a little bit. I just tried to chart the starters for the most part, and I may have missed one or two plays, but to the best of my knowledge, they were in 11 personnel 6 times. They were in 21 personnel 6 times, and 12 personnel only 3 times. I don't know if you charted the personnel or not. Devondre Campbell didn't play. Kenny Clark didn't play. Jair Alexander didn't play. And David Bakhtiari didn't play as well. So we can get into the stats, or you can go ahead. What's the first takeaway, Jacob? What's your first takeaway from the game? What stood out to you the most?
First takeaway. Oh, I mean, I guess it'd be the tight end play, because I have in my notes here, I tried to do personnel, but to be honest, that's one of the first chapters in that book is
it's tough too, man. I was struggling to do it.
It's really tough just because you don't know all these players. It's easier to do it in season when you know the numbers, the players, what they look like. When it's preseason, you have to learn 90 guys or whatever it is plus just to know what their formations are. And they do a lot of motion and they do a lot of this kind of stuff. So anyways, when I did chart that, but what I mainly did was just kind of get the formations, try to see who was on the field, try to get the overall outcome of the play. So like the first play of the game, first drive, I formation with DeGuara as the lead fullback with Aaron Jones running back. He got a 6-yard gain. I think they pulled him right after that. That was it. Aaron Jones was done. They're like, oh, we've seen what we need to see. DeGuara's there. And that's, to me, is interesting that DeGuara's the opening fullback in an I formation and that he's still a lead H-back in like the third quarter reps. So it's like, I kind of think they're going to do that. And it looked like that Henry Pearson may have gotten injured tonight. So he's the only true fullback that we have on the squad. So that's one of those little things. It seemed interesting to me that Rasul Douglas got picked on a little bit right away by Kendrick Bourne. Like they went after him for 3 plays in a row, and I think they got success. I think they even had a pass interference call against him or something like that. And in addition to that, Carrington Valentine, he definitely showed a little bit of weakness, but overall, I thought that it was, again, a strong performance from him. He had some grabby moments, and he's overall like a very physical cornerback.
Right. You're going to get that.
Very obvious, but there was a couple other plays that will probably not get noticed. He made a very good tackle on a run play. He came up to run, to do some coverage on the run game quite a few times. And overall, I think that Carrington Valentine had another good day where he showed out that he's a good dude. Like he should still probably be in the top 4 of the cornerback situation. I don't know what we do with that. They even said on the broadcast, which I don't remember what these guys' names are, but I really loved what they did. I was listening to the Homer game. I think it was John Kuhn and somebody
Kevin
else.
Harlan.
Yeah. I love him. Great guy.
Yeah. They're awesome.
Really good, like just that old school, like 1990s voice. Just,
yes.
Super.
Yeah, Kevin Harlan's he's actually Bob Harlan's son. Bob Harlan that was the president of the Packers.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's got a great voice. I want to say this, Mike Reese, who covers the Patriots, because I know there's people in here saying the guy on the stretcher wasn't awake, he wasn't moving. Mike Reese from the Patriots 19 seconds ago said, Patriots cornerback Isaiah Bolden sustained an injury during the fourth quarter of tonight's game. He had filling in all his extremities, but has been taken to local hospital for further tests and observation. So he was moving. He had filling in all his extremities. They probably had him strapped down pretty tight. That's the reason you didn't see him moving, but sounds like he's awake and moving. So, which is good news.
I guess I should have backed up. Like Tim was not being like what's the word I'm trying to say? I'm trying to be really PC. He wasn't trying to be insensitive. Exactly. Yes. Because I saw the guy moving. I saw him moving around. I saw that it was a precautionary thing because of what happened to DeMar Hamlin. Let's just be honest. That's exactly what it was. The NFL is a business. They have to make sure that they take care of, all that kind of stuff. And it is what it is. Like we've talked about that situation. We can drop that now. But I will say though, like I said, Musgrave, it's clear that they're going to use this guy. I think the first 3 or 4 passes were to Musgrave, and they were really trying to force that to him, like basically no matter what. I am really excited about the hard count. A little disheartened by the way that Ramondre Stevenson kind of gashed through us, but it's really hard to get a lot of perspective off of preseason. I almost have too many things to talk about where it's like,
right. Well, hey, we've got plenty of time. We'll come back. Tim, what was your big takeaway, man? What stood out to you the most on the night? Were you in Lambeau tonight, Tim?
Yes, I was.
Cool. What
Section
stood out?
125. What stood out for me was Mr. Inigbare. I don't know if you guys touched on him before I jumped on. He stood out to me on the defense today, man. That guy, especially in the first half, I mean, holy cow. I mean, he was just – it seemed like even when he wasn't in on the play, he was in on the play. He was just everywhere today. That was a standout. Also, on the offensive side, man, Romeo Doubs he's
a dog, dude. He is a dog.
Here's one thing that never gets talked about with him is his physicality. He is a physical receiver, and I mean, you can forget about it. When it comes to the contested catch, he might be the best guy we have on the field. I mean, that play on the sidelines was amazing. That was just unreal.
That toe drag.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm in the stands and everyone's mad at LaFleur for throwing a challenge flag. I'm like, okay.
I saw that, and when I initially saw the pass, I'm like, oh, yeah, I think he dragged his toe. And then like you said, when they threw the challenge flag, I didn't hear a single cheer. I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Well, what kills me is how about the PI on the play? First of all, I mean, at the very least, we should have got that. There should have been a flag. So at least they got the call right on the review. But yeah, man, Romeo Doubs stood out to me on the offensive side tonight. And I feel like his routes are crisper even than last year. He's doing it with the feet, and then he's getting up there and these contested catches, man. It's like, I don't know, man. I it's not out of nowhere because we saw the talent last year and we saw those flashes, but I never put him being this physical type of receiver. Like he's not going to take no for an answer, man, when that ball's in the air. If it's anywhere near him, he's going to get his hands on it. And you can clearly see this year he's coming down with them. The drops are fewer and far between. So defensive side for me, it's Kingsley Inigbare and it's Romeo Doubs on the offensive side from section 125 where I was sitting. That's what it looked like for me.
He snatched that crosser out of the air. It was a dig route, and there was bodies everywhere. And Doubs snatched. I think that was on a 3rd down, if I remember correctly, too. And then just making that great catch down the sideline. He is taking such a step forward. Going into the season, I said he graded out as a number 3 receiver across the NFL, basically meaning his level of play was the equivalent to a number 3 receiver on the roster. And then after seeing him in training camp in the first 2 preseason games and tonight, now I'm starting to go, okay, I think we got a legitimate number 2 receiver now. I really believe that. He could be a number 1, but I'm trying to curb the enthusiasm. I think we might at least have a number 2 right now, which is really exciting. Let's see. Let me go to the stats. We've got Dakota in the hopper. We'll go to you in just a second, Dakota. I wanted to point this out real quick. Jordan Love, 5 for 8, 84 yards, averaged 10.5 yards, had 1 touchdown, no picks, QB rating of 137.5. As far as wide receivers, Malik Heath ended the night, 5 catches, 75 yards. Guys, he had 5 targets. He caught every ball thrown to him. 5 catches for 75 yards.
They were hard catches. They were very physical catches.
Yeah, Romeo Doubs, 2 catches for 52 yards, only 2 targets he had. Grant Dubose was targeted 4 times, had 2 catches for 27 yards. So Malik Heath, man, we might have us something there, fellas. We might just have us something there. We'll see. It's a little early, like I said, but I don't know. I'm excited to see what he does for sure. We got Dakota in the house. Dakota, can you hear me, bub?
Yeah, it's a little quiet. My headphones kind of just died on me, my Bluetooth headphones, and but yeah, no, this is cool new software.
Cool. Yeah, we're working on some stuff, man. We're getting there. We're getting there. What'd you think of the game tonight, dude?
Well, I actually, just like the last game, I had some streaming issues, but one Mr. Joe the janitor helped me out on the Discord. Shout out to Joe, man. He gave me something that allowed me to watch a good portion of it. But no, the I know the last thing y'all said, Malik Heath, man, like I couldn't help but talk about him in the Discord. He's got to be our fifth receiver. If Toure hasn't already guaranteed the fourth, I mean Heath is definitely our fifth.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. He's solid, man. Tim, what did you think of Malik Heath? Just live there in the stadium, man. What kind of stood out to you with him? Did he pop off the field as much as he did, on the TV screen? Make sure you're unmuted, Tim, if you can hear me, bud. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Jacob was saying the other night, like this guy makes the team, whether we're taking 6, 7, it doesn't matter. Like I'm a believer now. I'm a believer now. It's crazy. Did we ever think we would have this kind of depth at the receiver position?
Not this early, man.
Not this early, right? Yeah, exactly. Like, man, I mean, Tay Wicks, Malik Heath, I mean, like even bottom to the top, but yeah, Heath is fun to watch, man. He is. And I guess I was a little disheartened about the game getting cut and short because I wanted to see some 82 tonight too, some Cody Crest. Yeah, I mean, we can reach way down on the depth chart, and that's what you want to see because hey, like I said, injuries happen. It's part of the game. Like if you think your team is going to get through a year without like losing guys for significant time, you're naive. I mean, this is what happens in football, and your depth is what is going to help you get through those tough times. So having a guy like Malik Heath in the receiver room is just priceless right now. I mean, and you can see it. I mean, it's not just what we saw tonight with the injuries. I mean, they're happening all over this league every day. So having depth is never a bad thing, and it's a pleasant surprise here in Green Bay to have depth like this at the wide receiver position, man. This is great.
Definitely. Let's see here in the chat. Who was it that said it? Eric Sutherland said, Wilson looking and reminded me of Amon Green. All we heard last week was it was 6 carries. It was 6 carries. He had 15 carries tonight, 63 yards, 4.2 yards a carry, along with 14. So he showed you can grind it out tonight, averaging over 4 yards a carry. To put that into perspective, A.J. Dillon only had 6 carries for 25 yards, and he too averaged 4.2 yards a carry. This Emmanuel Wilson, Jacob, you got him in your notes anywhere, dude? How you feeling about him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I just think that he is showing – one, I think the Packers showed us that they believe in him because if you remember before the preseason started, Matt LaFleur said, well, I'm going to pick one running back. I'm going to give him one game to show out exactly what they can do. He has not done that. He's basically given split carries to a bunch of different backs. And then if you notice, though, he gave Wilson quite a lot of carries with the number one offense there, or at least the number one pass or run blocking offense. And what did he do with it? If you remember, the announcers are like, oh, my God, here, gain for 9, gain for 8, gain for 7. He had like one that he ran into the line of scrimmage. But overall, like those first 4 or 5 rushes he did when he had the first team blocking for him, the guy was popping off 9 yards a pop. I mean, he was doing it. I thought, oh, my God, here he goes again. He's going to start breaking crazy runs. At one point, and then there was another one later in the game where he did that kind of like stiff arm where he just bulldozed the dude into the ground and then still gained a couple yards afterwards. And he showed that he can catch the ball. I think he had one catch for like 10, 11 yards. To me, right now, he has solidified that he is running back 3 / Taylor, though, did just enough again today with that delayed handoff run where he kicked it outside, 8-yard touchdown run, and he did some great pass protection stuff. So it's just they both did just enough to keep them right at that Like, do we keep a running back 3 at all, or do we just let them both fall away? It's getting to the point now, though, where he's putting up enough stats where I don't know if he's going to make it through practice squad. I just don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Dakota, what else stood out to you about tonight, man?
I know y'all already covered a whole portion of it, but I know when. So I think y'all covered this at the beginning. I think because I caught the tail end of it when I joined. But when Enigbare took that one big lineman and just one-armed him, kept him off balance. Oh man, that was beautiful. I'm really excited about him. But I'm slightly nervous about Van Ness just because I haven't seen him really do anything. So that's the one thing. And this defense, I mean, there's aspects of this defense that really excites me. Like Quay's been really quiet, but he looked to have a steady performance today, a strong performance today. Like, you know, I want to say almost like he's trying to let the other folks shine, but that's just me trying to, think a certain type of way. But no, he's a little quiet, but he seems to be doing all right. I didn't hear much. Did Devontae Wyatt play today? I didn't hear much from him.
Yeah, he played.
But yeah, so there's some aspects of this defense that's really exciting me, and but there's other aspects. Sorry, excuse me, it's late, y'all. That just kind of got me worried because I don't hear from some people that I really want to hear from.
Gotcha. Well, when it comes to Van Ness, he made my notes a couple times just playing the run. Again, man, it's going to be a process with him. You can see already it's going to be kind of that Rashawn Gary approach, right? We're set at edge. He doesn't have to play right away. Bring him along. You got to teach him 2 or 3 pass rush moves, and you can put him in there in a pinch and let him, collapse the pocket. I've seen him collapse the pocket. I actually did a chalk talk earlier today where he looked good against the Bengals in certain situations. Now, there was a couple times he got washed out of a play, but it was all mental. I'm not concerned about Lucas Van Ness. I don't know, man. Jacob or Tim, I'm sorry. How do you feel about Lucas Van Ness, man? Are you concerned about him? And Dakota, we're going to let you get off here, buddies. Well, let me say this, Dakota. You got anything else you'd like to say, bud?
No. Hopefully, Joe, Mr. the janitor, set me straight, and maybe I can watch the next thing all the way through and actually finish taking notes. But no, I appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely, man. Hey, thanks for calling in, but it's always good to hear from you, man.
Right, yes, sir.
All right, see you, bud.
All right, bye.
All right, Tim, what do you think about Lucas Van Ness, man? You starting to worry about him, or is it early?
Absolutely not. I 100% agree with you, Clayton. I mean, he's a rookie. This is the NFL. This is not. He's not playing in Iowa anymore. This is the real deal. And very rarely do rookies come into this league and just be phenomenal right away. I mean, the most recent example I can think of is probably Jair's rookie season, where like we drafted this guy and it was like, whoa, like day one, this guy's like, whoa, this guy's ready to play. And he had a pretty solid rookie year, but he had a lot of mistakes too as a rookie. And so when I look at Van Ness, I see the skills, I see the flashes, I see the talent. What he needs is time to develop. We have to be patient. We have to be patient. And you had a great point the other day, Clayton. You said if you're not making mistakes right now, or if everything looks easy and everything's vanilla during the preseason, then you're probably not really a good team. You're probably not really making strides. So I'm not worried about Lucas Van Ness. There was one play that caught my eye early that he like closed out to the flat and like chased some guy down along the sideline. So he's covering laterally, and it's like, that's a good sign. Like this guy doesn't have to be a bulldozer all the time. If he can jump out there and cut off a lane and, turn a 15-yard splash play into a 3-yard gain out of bounds, I'll take it. I'm not worried about him. To answer your question, no, not at all. I still feel real good about the pick.
Yeah, me too. And it's just a blessing that we're so deep at edge, like Jacob was mentioning earlier. Enigbare, man, oh my God. I keep going back to him. He's probably my player of the game. I mean, he probably my player of the game, Jacob. He flashed all over the screen, dude.
No, he did, and we both were big on Kingsley. I believe he was a 5th-round pick. I thought that he could have been a higher pick. It was one of those guys that in the draft prior that we all thought like, oh, that's one of those steals kind of things. And what I thought was the most cool thing of this whole game, and I don't know, maybe Tim will appreciate this. If he has to leave, we can let him go. There was a point midway through the second quarter, maybe not midway, but like, I don't know, around the 10-minute mark of the second quarter, where the starting defensive front was Cox, Brooks, Wooden, and Van Ness. And they got a lot of pressure on the reps that they had together for like 3 or 4 series in a row. They were like the starting lineup. Like, think about that. Pure rookies, pure talent. There was another play where Brooks had a sack that got called back because of some BS tic-tacky, secondary call or whatever. But, I mean, he looked ferociously good. Like, really, really good. Colby Wooden, again, looked dominant. But Carl Brooks had a couple, like, pop in the background plays. And Igbare, Brenton Cox, again, dude, he was around. He was Brenton Cox could make this game. I think Malik Heath made this team with this game. I think that, man. Even Valentine had a couple plays that I wish I'd see. He gave up a big touchdown run, but he showed that he can throw his shoulder down and make some plays against the run. He showed that he's not afraid to. He's obviously not afraid to be physical. We've seen that, but I do think that he had a good showing, all in all.
All right, we got Jake from the Jake Shavink from the It's Always Draft Season podcast in here with us. Jake, man, I seen Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden run a TT stunt, and I came up off the couch like a nerd. What did you think of that game tonight, dude?
Well, I will say I missed a couple series at the beginning, so that was unfortunate. I didn't get to see Jordan Love going wild there. After that, heard about the fumble exchange. I immediately was like, "Oh yeah, so it's Zach Tom's season at center. That's fine. It is what it is. We'll figure that out." But yeah, some of the defensive linemen, like Carl Brooks, it just felt like he was run dudes over. Just like 3-4 times, you just look up and you're kind of like, all right, he's built for the sub package game. He really is. And that's really exciting. It's just all these darn day 3 picks, man. They're making plays. It's all you can ask for in preseason.
Right.
It's all you can ask for. This is great.
Right. I'm sure you can see the screen. You said you missed a few, so we'll
the ball. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice using the footwork to make that adjustment. That's, man, absolutely. Dobbs can play like that. I mean, it's a little jarring to kind of watch Watson kind of be stuck in, attached to the line a little bit more, running to the flat a lot, and just seeing, Dobbs and Reed take a lot of intermediate looks. But
yeah,
they're obviously saving stuff. But yeah,
here's the play action slot cross here to Jaden Reed. Dude, Jaden Reed's got some hands on him, Jake.
Oh, what a pickup by Dylan. Oh, yeah. Come on.
Hey, check this out. Where do you see this? This looks just like last week. Watch Zach Tom at right tackle, dude. Check him out up here up top.
Like be almost like trying to get into the vertical set too quick, and that's where guys would take advantage. That was really clean right there. I really like that rep a lot.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to stink if he's got to move inside.
No. This is the most enjoyable preseason I've experienced so far, man. Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's just that – I don't know, man, that the expectations may be a little low or what, but – God, it's been a blast. It's been an absolute blast. Tim, are you in the car talking to us? Where are you at, dude?
No, I'm at home. I made it home.
How did you already get home? That's amazing, dude.
12 minutes, man.
12 minutes. 12 minutes?
We're going to have to move.
Wow. 12 minutes.
Yeah. Tim's going to wake up one day, and I'm going to have a tent in his backyard. That's what's going to happen. All right. Let's see. What else do we Jacob, what else you got in your notes there, buddy?
I just thought of this. Do you remember that one play where Love felt the pressure, decided I'm going to run, and then he had the wherewithal to just kind of, as he's breaking away from people chasing him, he just looks back and he's like, oh, this guy's kind of chasing me down. And then he looks ahead and he's like, these two guys are bearing down on me. I better slide now. And the guy still jumps on top of him, of course. And then insanity ensues. But like that to me was I haven't seen Love. He does not, for a guy that has the legs, like this is not a Trey Lance quarterback. This is not a Mike Vick quarterback. This is not a guy that looks to run first or even like an Anthony Richardson quarterback. This is a guy that will almost against all odds, like he will not run. He wants to throw the ball. And then all of a sudden he realizes, oh man, I'm really kind of fast and quick. Like I should probably just get this first down. And I love that about him. The fact that he, like I said, at all costs, he does not want to run. He wants to use his arm. He wants to be an NFL actual stay in the pocket quarterback. But at the same time, the dude can freaking run around and fly. And I really, really like that about him. And he seems like he's very smart about when he wants to run, how to get down with the ball. And that's why I think the offensive line got so, these teams do not like each other. I think that's very apparent. They fought each other, like 4 out of the first 5 snaps of that second team joint practice. So, and it sounded like a couple times they went off tonight. And then it took, I will say the one thing that I thought was a little bit humbling, maybe, or cathartic, whatever you want to say, is the fact that they did come together. They all knelt together. They all were very worried about this gentleman that obviously had the injury, which I think it'll be okay. I hope it's going to be okay. I think they were just being over precautious. And that's good, whatever. It's just a good thing to see that they can be so hating against each other. And then at the same time, when there's emotion, the moment they're like, yeah, we're cool. Like everybody's
sounds like my marriage, dude. Like,
oh boy, there you go.
It's it's literally, I hate you more than anything in the world. Now, what do you want to have for dinner? One of those deals. Jake, let me ask you this, man. And I want to get
Sure.
I want to get Tim's take as well. We got Jeff in the chat says, can Emmanuel Wilson play special teams and play pass pro? Emmanuel Wilson tonight, man, 4.6 yards a carry, I think is what he averaged. Do you think he's got a legit shot to make this roster, or is it all fluff, man?
I think it's legit only because I just don't think there's really anything completely nailed down at RB3. Now they could obviously take 2 running backs and they feel okay with the rest of the guys. They throw as many on the practice squad as they can. And if somebody gets picked up, somebody gets picked up. But I feel like, if you look back, and I was thinking about this because we've talked about Wilson a lot. You think about like how much LaFleur really liked Dexter Williams when he was an undrafted free agent a few years ago and was like trying to get him going and be a part of the team. This might be like that vision kind of realized. That might be what Emmanuel Wilson is he's really like the true, like, this is a big back that we can give the ball. He's got, the wiggle that many have talked about. I think he's got a real chance only because we just really haven't obviously seen much from Lou Nichols. We've seen much from Tyler Goodson. And Patrick Taylor's been fine, but it seems like Patrick Taylor's somebody that's been easily stashed. So I think the legitimate shot to be RB3. Now, will RB3 be on the opening day 53? That's an even better question, honestly. That might be like one that's worth debating for sure. But he's done everything he possibly can.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Tim, what do you think, man? Emmanuel Wilson, what did he look like tonight in person?
Great. I agree with what Jake just said too. Those are great points. I think this may very well be one of those guys. But are we going to see 3 running backs? That's the big caveat to this whole thing is, do we keep 3 running backs? And then if we do, it's going to be between Wilson and Taylor, I think. I mean, if we had to make that decision today. But he's exciting to watch, man. And just the little shifty moves for a guy his size. And then, you notice like at the contact point, most guys would go down, but Wilson seems to find a way to like snag like 2 or 3 more yards on that final push. And just the guy you want in your running back room, man. So we'll see. Hopefully they keep 3, right?
Yeah.
That would be the hope.
Hey, how about our boy Anders Carlson tonight, man? Right? He hit a 52-yarder? Is that what it was? Let's see. Yeah, 52-yarder. Hit both of his extra points. Jake,
keep biting the nails. Keep biting your nails, guys. If you're nail biting on every kick, because he's our kicker, we're gonna see him for the entire season. So
Tim defends a kicker, man. I'm all about it. He's like, I'm sticking with my peeps. I am sticking with my peeps. How you feeling about him, Jake?
It was honestly, I missed like probably the first quarter. So then I was just like, kind of like almost zoning out right before the half. I'm like, there's actually we're punting. Like this could be a punt, right? Like and then trot him out there. I'm like, interesting idea, but we got to see if he can make these 50-yarders.
Right.
And extremely pleasantly surprised that we get a make from a 50 plus.
Yeah,
I think Tim said it. They're gonna ride him out. So as through the season, I don't expect competition. If there was going to be there, it was going to happen in camp. I don't imagine that mid-season, if they're hypothetically in a push, I think, which is going to be, the NFC, we're talk about that for no whole other hour about like how contested it might be for a playoff spot. I think they're just going to ride it out this season. I think they've made that clear. It was nice. It was an improvement. That's steps. Just take little steps at a time. That was nice to see tonight.
Definitely. Jacob, you had your hand up, buddy. What'd you have?
No, I guess a couple things. One, I think that 52-yarder would have been good from 60 plus. I mean, he had a lot of leg underneath that thing. The other thing that I was talking about, where was it? So it looked like Tavarius Moore may have gotten hurt today. So with that injury at the ever so delicate safety positional rotation, now does that mean that we either keep a Malik Heath, who balled out today? I'd argue that he maybe made himself a 53-man roster today. I'd argue that Cox maybe made himself a 53-man roster, and all that depends on, again, if it's really easy for the Packers to make that decision, because we now don't have 5 guys we have to worry about at safety. We have 4, or vice versa. Now we start looking at it down the line of the injuries. I don't remember if there was any other major ones. I think we actually escaped today with very minor injuries, all things considered. I think it was Tavarius Moore and Jake Hansen ended up going, which go our backup quote unquote center. Again, that throws a big kind of what if into that mix there. But one thing, again, I will say is that I just think that Brenton Cox is making a push to make this team. I just really think that he's going to make the team. I don't know how that's going to work with the other. I think they might be comfortable keeping 6 wide receivers, because it looked like Grant DeBose also went out with an injury today. So,
yeah, Jake, how do you feel? Or Tim, if you need to hop off, buddy, we completely understand, man. If you can hang around, that's great too.
Absolutely, guys. I'm going to hop off. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Good talking to you, buddy. You have a good night.
Go Pack, go.
Yeah, man. Jake, Brenton Cox seems to be playing. I don't know, man. He's wide open. He has one gear, doesn't he? and you probably seen that on the college tape, didn't you?
Yeah, he really does. He wants, he's going to try to take the quickest avenue, and the quickest avenue for him is usually, all right, these first 3 steps are going to be explosive steps. I don't know where, I hope we're going the right direction. I'm going to find my way there, and I'm going to hustle as much as possible if I don't get that initial track, and that's nice having a guy whose motor's not going to stop, and that's exciting, because it's you see guys have this all the time in college too. They're some of them can't handle the snap counts, and the conditioning isn't there. It's nice to see a guy who's got the motor and it keeps running hot. He's got to have a little bit more of a plan out there. I think the touchdown lost a little bit contained there. Went to the same gap Brooks did. That was not ideal.
I seen that too. I went, wait, what? Those 2 guys aren't supposed to be attached at the hip.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I don't know. We can assume. I assume it's on Cox for that one, but again, we're not in the room. So yeah, I think just the little things with him, technique, gap responsibility, where contain needs to be on the X play Y. Like it's great that he's got the gear, and that excites me on, down the line, passing down, sub package guy who can rush, who's got juice. That's always nice to have in the room. I mean, they've gotten rid of a couple guys already I know we've talked about, a couple weeks ago, and he's setting himself up pretty well. I mean, obviously the athletic traits are there, and we know that the Packers love to bet on that kind of thing.
Yeah. Before I go back to you, Jacob, I want to ask Jake, how do you feel about LVN, man? There's a lot of people that are already freaking out, right? This is what the scouting report said, right? He's got a ton of talent, natural raw ability, but he is so unpolished. And then we get out in the preseason, and he doesn't have 4 sacks in 2 games, and everybody's like, "What's going on with LVN?" How do you feel about LVN, man?
I remember exactly what I said when they drafted him on the stream that night. I literally said, he is a ball of clay. He's an athletic, powerful ball of clay, but he is a ball of clay. And it's going to take time. It is like drafting a Rashawn Gary. It's not going to all click immediately. LVN's one move in college was take 3 explosive steps, and I am going to run through you as hard as I possibly can. And that worked a lot. And it's great that he's got a bull rush. It's going to take more than that, especially if, you're not hitting your leverage points well with your hands. And there were times where he was kind of just like, letting the hands get in tight. And he was just treating it like a car crash almost. And it just
right.
was like, all right, well, this isn't going to fly, but I see the vision. It's going to take time. That's just how it is. You look at, the polish for some of these prospects that the draft. Jaden Reed's got the polish. That's the type of player who's got like initial polish. But Van Ness is the guy who, a couple seasons from now, the returns could be massive. And that's the type of swing Green Bay takes. It's why we get frustrated. That happens all the time. It happened with Gary. It's going to happen again. It's inevitable.
Walker, Devontae,
yeah. So, and it's a perfect situation for LVN. Smith is here. Gary should be back. Looks like Enagbare is taking some steps. That's nice to see. So you're not going to have to maybe thrust him out and give him 30, 40 snaps right away. That doesn't have to happen. So bring him along. And I think the developmental track for players like that's why he came out early, get in the NFL room, get with NFL coaches. Not saying the Iowa coaches are bad per se, but they're gonna coach you up, and they know how to work with players like this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dakota in the chat said, let me clarify, because he was on the call just a second ago, and I wasn't referring to you, Dakota, but he said, let me clarify, LOL. I'm not worried about Van Ness sucking. I'm worried he may not make an immediate impact, which is understandable because he's a rookie. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, and it's nothing physical. It's all he looks like he's mentally overwhelmed right now, and that's okay. It's going to take time. And these are the reps that you want to be mentally overwhelmed, obviously. So, good stuff, Jacob. What else you got, bub?
All right, Sean Clifford, real deal. I really, really like this quarterback. I think that he could be. Every time I watch him, I think more and more. I'm not thinking that I'm going to go jump off the building if Love gets a knee injury or something like that. Like, I'm not going to just end it all. I'm just not. I think that this guy shows some spirit. In that same note, Anthony Johnson Jr., I think that guy all of a sudden is showing up, making plays, saying, hey, I should maybe make this team. With the hurt of Tavares Moore, I believe that's almost inevitable. And by the way, did anybody else see that they, if you watch the Packers, like the home game coverage, they showed a dude getting his shoulder popped back into place today? And it was like, even the announcer's like, hey, we should probably cut to commercial. This is a little too much. And it was like to the point where they like showed him rotating it, and at the point where they clicked it, and they were like, oh, all right, then. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, my God, don't do that. Like, the guy's gripe. He's literally, his legs are kicking as they're popping it back in. Anyways, that was cool.
That's not cool.
Lovely.
The Badger Trio said, crazy to say Clifford might be the best backup quarterback we've had, not counting Love. I feel comfortable if he has to play. I hope not, but never know. Yeah, like I said before, man, I don't, let's pray to sweet baby Jesus that Love stays healthy all year long. But if he goes down, there's going to be a part of me that's like, all right, let's go. Here comes the Sean Clifford show, man. I'm telling you right now, that dude, he is so much fun to watch. And again, he always reminds us of this.
You think God never farted?
That's what you see every time. Every time. Hey, it's going to be good or it's going to be bad, but regardless, it's going to be entertaining, Jake.
Yep, there's a Minshew quality to him as well. The Favre Minshew qualities are all there with Clifford and
Minshew. Oh man.
So that's, I mean, he scrambles around. He's a little bit of a scrambler around like Minshew kind of does, and it's very fun to watch. It is. He's magnetic in the way he plays. It's very fun.
Very good scrambler. Did you see that one where he just kind of rolled out right, and he realized that I can beat the edge. I'm just gonna really run up field and then knife it and then put the ball out for like a 5-yard gain. Like, not a lot of quarterbacks can do that just out of nowhere. And he seems to make these quick decisions really, really fast. And I don't like his release, honestly, on the ball. It just looks like he's weirdly just doing these. It almost reminds me again of Brett Favre, where he just would throw his whole body in. It's not clean. It's not precise. There's no flow. It just looks like some dude chucking a ball in his backyard, but it works. I don't know.
Like Uncle Rico out there is what you're saying.
Uncle Rico.
Number one Packer fan in the chat said, Tim, if you're still listening, this message is for you. Number one Packer fan said, Tim, if the kicker costs us a game, celebrity cage fight, me and you. There you go.
There we go.
There you go. All right, here's a good question. I like these kind of questions. Paul Robertson in the chat says, when do Packers get their first loss? Is it going to be at the Bears, at the Falcons, the Saints, the Lions? I don't know, man. I think the one for me that if you had to tell me, Clayton, you've got to pick one that the Packers have the least chance of winning, right? Of those 4 games, I'm probably going Saints. What do you think, Jake?
I'm actually going to pick Atlanta.
Really?
I was going to say,
I am.
I
have this really scary vision in my mind of Green Bay, just Joe Barry kind of be like, 4 down linemen's fine. It's fine. And then they just run it 70 times. And it's like, no, it wasn't fine. Actually, we lost 27-17 and we just never had the ball. That's the danger there, I think, with Atlanta. Ritter doesn't scare me. The weapons could. I mean, Pitts and London are really good players. I like both of them a ton, but it's how good their running game looks already. They got a rookie coming in at left guard in Bergeron who looks really good as well. He played tackle at Syracuse, and they have Robinson and Algier rushed for 1,000 last year, and Patterson's still there. Like they can death by 1,000 5-yard rushes. Like that's how they're gonna play, and that's what worries me. That's what worries me about that game.
Yeah. No
Bijan Robinson catch the ball out of the backfield too. Did you see that one-armed grab he made? They did a little running back screen, and Ritter threw it like 3 yards behind him because it's Ritter, and he just was like, whoa, made a spin move, ran it upfield for like 10 yards. It was like, all right, shoot. All right.
He ran a post in college against Iowa State, went up in the air, attacked the ball in the air, caught the ball, contact didn't matter. Like just ran a post route out wide. He was just not even playing this game right now. So it scares me. It scares me.
I'm trying to get an update on Dubose. Jacob, did you hear anything about Dubose's ankle? Somebody said he left with an ankle again.
He left. He never got back in the game. I know that for sure. Which he looked mad when he went to the sideline, as if he knew it was an injury. But that's speculation completely on my part.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see any injury updates there. So Malik Heath, though, hey, that dude's a real deal, man.
Yeah, that's my guy.
What happened to him?
I won $50.
What happened to him in the draft? That's a great question. I
think he got a DUI, if I remember correctly.
Crystal clear. Don't believe I got eyes on him at all. Okay. Maybe did and didn't know. There's a good chance of that. But yeah, there was probably something off the field, and he's a bigger dude, and I wouldn't call him like the best 6'3", 215-pound athlete, and that's you kind of get some of those guys who don't run very fast. He feels very Alan Lazard like. This is just exactly what Lazard did. Lazard not fast, big, go in the ball, blocks his butt off, can run the routes. It just doesn't look ridiculously crisp, but he gets the job done. And he fights for every darn yard. And I think he's got a real mind for the game as well. It just feels very Lazard-like way back when he was a UDFA as well.
Man, I don't know, dude. The first person that comes to mind for me was the Houston Texans wide receiver, and he was great. Was his name Andre Johnson? Am I thinking right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The way he attacks the football, I know he's not quite that big. What is Malik Heath? Is he like 6'1", 6'2"? Am I thinking right?
I
think he's a little bit bigger. But
6'2", 215, maybe Packers list him at 6'3",
gotcha.
No. Sports Reference list him at
6'2", 213.
Yeah, the way he plays, and I'm not saying he's on Andre Johnson's level. I believe that was his name, right? Andre Johnson. Am I thinking right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But he just kind of plays with that same style, right? With Lazard seemed a little bit slimmer, and he kind of played slimmer. I know he was a great blocker and all, but Malik Heath, man, I don't know. It just kind of feels like I'm waiting for the curtain to fall and go, oh, that's why no one else was on him, but I'm just not seeing it yet. I don't know.
Yeah. I think he's locked in at wide receiver 6. I saw someone in the comments put their rankings of the receiver room, and they didn't have Wicks on it, and that hurt a little. That hurt deep a little bit. Wicks also got hurt, I think, tonight, hamstring, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That stinks.
Definitely. All right, guys, we're at the 1 hour and 6 minute mark. Got 174 people in here watching. I guess we need to wrap this thing up, but man, it's so much fun talking ball with you guys and everybody in the chat. I could do this all night. Parting thoughts, Jacob. Anything else you didn't hit on, buddy? Anything else you want to touch on?
I guess one thing is just Jaden Reed. He only had that one real good catch, but that catch showed what Jaden Reed could be. And I really, really think that he solidified himself. That's we got our Watson 1, Dobbs 2, Reed 3. And Musgrave, I think, is going to get a lot. Like every time that Musgrave, if you watch the first 2 series of any time that we started this, Musgrave gets a lot of targets, and they're doing a lot of stuff with them. They're doing crossers, they're doing freaking end arounds with them. They're doing him in the seam, they're doing him in the slot, they're using Musgrave more than I've ever seen them use a tight end in general, let alone a rookie tight end. So again, if through a fantasy football aspect, right now he's still going in the last of the last rounds. Grab that guy. Oh my God. Travis Kelce in round 1 and that dude in round 18, and boom, there's your whole freaking season. You're never going to lose. I'm just saying, at least at that position. Go.
Yeah. No
Because they had, like I said, they had DeGuara at fullback in the 3rd quarter. I'm just saying that should tell you a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Jake, parting thoughts, buddy. Anything else, man?
The Packers have a great problem, I think, at 2 positions, receiver and defensive line. I think they've got great problems there. The depth looks really good. If Wicks can just stay healthy, it seems we've got a couple injuries so far in a few weeks. It's not great, but the receiver depth looks really good, and I really like what I see from the young D lineman. The negative is centers. We got to figure that out. That's got to get figured out. I don't know what it's going to be. But man, I don't know what's going on. It is so strange. I am very interested if it's just kind of Love trying to get comfortable under center. I don't I know obviously he did a ton of air raid stuff at Utah State, but it's year 4. So I gotta believe it's a little bit on Myers too. And just maybe that connection's just not there. It's very strange.
Yeah.
We haven't seen something like this in a while.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if you had to put one at fault tonight with that botched snap, who would it be? And the way you were talking just now tells me we're on the same freaking level. I don't know whose fault it is, but something's off. Something is off.
It's very weird. It's just, like I said, it's not something we've experienced in quite some time. It's just center's always been a position that feels rock solid. Obviously with 12, they got comfortable, with chemistry there. Like Lindsley and 12 are obviously excellent. And so it's strange. It's a strange time we're living in right now with the center position.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. I mean, as soon as I seen Love look toward the sideline and then the ball went whizzing by his ear, this is all I heard. How does this continue to how? But hey,
keep doing this.
What it is. All right, let's get out of here, gang. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate everybody dropping through. Let's see who it was. Also, gotta find it. Josh Martin in the chat. Thank you so much. What are you showing me here, Jacob?
What is I'm just saying I won
prize picks. Prize picks.
$150 tonight because I said that Emmanuel Wilson was going to rush for more than 22.5 yards. I said Malik he was going to get more than 19.5 receiving yards, and I said that Trey Nix was going to get less than 31.5 receiving yards. Was trading.
You tweeted that out earlier, didn't you? You tweeted that out.
Yeah, he was the guy that had his shoulder put back into place. So when that happened, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to win this bet." Like, darn, sorry, Trey, but thank you. Anyways, get safe.
I like that comment from Derek as well. Dobbs is the next iteration of driver Jordy Nelson. He feels like a driver. He really does. There's just,
Yeah, you're
right. I
right.
like that a lot.
Right.
I like
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely
I like that.
nailed it. I could see that. God, how awesome would that be? Have 10 years of a driver-like player.
That would be really nice.
Yeah,
really nice.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. Thank y'all so much for dropping through. Jacob, as always, thank you for your help. Jake, I'm glad you got to hop on with us, buddy. It's always good talking ball with you. I want to thank Tim for hopping on. I don't know how he got home that quick, but my man it's like I said, I'm jealous.
We gotta move.
Got to happen. But appreciate him. Dakota, thanks for calling in, buddy. Everybody in the chat, Josh Martin, thank you so much for the super chat. And like I said, everybody in the chat, you guys always make this show so much better. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow for a Chalk Talk episode. Then we'll do our weekly recap tomorrow night. So we look forward to seeing you all there. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go, Pack, go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
Double tackle, take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, you drive down the first man to his inside. Pull back and tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one goes. Go right by them and field inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. So look at this play. What we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.